welcome to Table Scraps. Welcome back, Paul.
Hey, Ben. I'm glad to be, I think, your first guest that isn't an inanimate object in a couple episodes.
It's been a moment. I've been talking to boxes on this show recently, which has been pretty fun, actually.
No, it looks great.
Feels great.
And you always get the last word, I think, after
No one disagrees with me, which is really my dream.
This is dreams.
It's a dream. I'm an autocrat, really, in my dreams.
Love it.
Also, another dream of mine is to do a show on YouTube where my guest and I both have stripy socks on.
Bucket list. Center up.
Center sock action. Normally we wear shoes, and then I was like, Paul, we are both wearing matching socks. We have to.
Yeah, there we go.
We have to not wear shoes. We have to share the stripes.
And of course, we're not cutting to the center shot yet, but we will.
No, we will. Yeah, I'll fix it in post.
Love it.
You know what I call this?
What's that?
Stars and stripes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Or I would call it star and stripes.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. You're a star, Paul.
Yeah,
Paul,
I'm a
star.
star.
My accent just exploded. My New York accent just exploded onto the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
So today we're going to talk about something very important.
Very important, as we always do.
Yes, actually,
on a very special.
So we've not talked about anything that wasn't important this entire time on Table Scraps.
That's right.
It just keeps getting more important.
It escalates.
Yes. Okay. Important topic for today.
Escalating important topic. This is world peace, and now here.
Yeah. Beyond. This is beyond world peace. Let's talk about game spaces. Let's specifically talk about if we could design the perfect game room for board gaming.
For board gaming,
at least board gaming primarily.
Yeah. No.
If we could design the perfect room for gaming, what would be in it?
So basically, in my 100-room mansion, this is like in the nerd wing.
Money is no object.
In the nerd wing, here is this the chateau-esque game room. What would be in this game room? Huh.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Love it.
So, I mean, this is a big thing. It can be overwhelming to think about. Mm-hmm. So I've actually started us off with some questions that will help guide this design process. I want to say that both of us don't really have a background in design like that, right? Like interior design. But in case you can't tell by this beautiful studio.
But we do have like a background in I wish I had this.
Exactly. I have a PhD in I wish I had this.
Yep.
So let's start. Let's start with the room itself.
The room itself. Okay, great.
What size room do you want in your perfect game room?
I think of a ski chateau-esque, like with a fireplace and like a pretty big room where a room that can play a game with people of say up to 20.
When you say that, meaning different tables going at once?
No,
one table that could have 20 people around it.
It would have like multiple tables that can be switched out.
Okay.
But the biggest, the room itself has to fit a table for 20.
Okay.
I actually prefer square tables.
Square tables instead of one long one.
Yes. So that would be more for a board game of 8 and plus.
Well, you know what? We'll get into tables.
Oh, okay.
We're just talking about room now. Okay. Because table's going to happen.
Okay.
Table will probably be like the main event because table, I think, is the thing that we care about the most.
A room that can comfortably fit 20 people.
Tall ceilings, low ceilings.
I mean, that's tall, obviously. There's no...
Well, but if you go too tall, you could sacrifice coziness. Does coziness matter in your room, in your game room? I think it should be cozy.
Interesting. I am not a cozy person.
Doesn't matter.
No. I'm saying like
you don't seek cozy.
I don't seek cozy. I seek I want it to be the size of it, but I want it to be designed. I want to feel like it's in a place.
Okay, that's fair. I think the room. I agree. The room should be big. It should be spacious. Mm-hmm. It should. You know what I don't want in the room? I don't want a situation where you back up your chair and there's like a wall there or there's a thing.
100%.
You want to have like free movement everywhere.
Exactly.
You want to be able to. I think the room should be big enough, obviously, to have like a signature table, a big table. I think maybe sofas. I think you want the room to be flexible.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Do you want this to be like the size of a grand hall?
A little bit. I think of Hogwarts Dining Hall or Alpine Village.
But I feel yes. I think actually I think like ski chalet vibes would be nice because like don't we always feel like the best time to play board games is when it's either rainy outside or it's like snowy and you want to be inside and cozy. Exactly. So I think you want to go for like a Disney. Some of those Disney hotels feel like old log cabins.
Love it.
I think that's the vibe. I think if the ceiling's too high, it becomes cavernous and maybe impersonal and I don't know. Like
sure. Like so I think it's a over under kind of thing. Like it has to be tall, not too tall.
Tall, not too tall. But I think the height is largely immaterial, though. Yeah, sure. Not too much of it. It's more of an aesthetic thing. What about hardwood floors, tiles, or carpet?
Like I am 100% hardwood floor. I take it back. 95% hardwood floor, maybe tile, but not really.
Tile.
No, yeah, like,
not tile. I think it's hardwood floor, and I think it's the reason why I think it's really important to do hardwood floor is because when pieces fall off the table,
100%.
You need to be able to track it.
Exactly.
So you hear the balance and you can hear where it goes. I mean, the downside is with hardwood floors is that things can sort of travel farther, but you can also hear.
Yeah.
Whereas if they fall into carpet, it's like you don't know where they fell, and it's also sometimes harder to find.
Sure.
You know,
100%.
So I think hardwood floors, area rugs.
Sure, but like I don't know if the area rug. I don't know if the area rug is under the table though. I think like
I think we're not doing area rugs.
Okay, well,
because then the backing up and forward of like chairs are on them, they're off them.
But remember, like this is a big room, so it has like other islands of things.
I think in the sort of the satellite spaces.
Sure.
Like where I'm assuming we may set up some, like maybe it's like a little sofa area where maybe people who come late can play a small game.
100%.
Area rug around that.
Or like a social game that doesn't require elicit more coziness.
There's a part of me that feels like the room should actually be not long. It should actually be square because that way if you do decide to play like a Blood on the Clock Tower or like a big social game, you can always play that at a table. We often play Avalon at a table.
Yep.
But I feel like games like Blood on the Clock Tower, people like to sort of sit in a circle
and walk around.
So I think we have like something that's more couches and seats.
Yeah, you know? I'm with you.
Okay, so we have definitely like a layout of the room. Do you think you know what I would also like in the room? Here's why it needs some height, because for someone like me who does a lot of online stuff, I like to do these videos for Table Scraps, but I also like to I like aspire to stream certain things, whatever. I would like a higher ceiling so that way I could put in cameras.
Love it.
Like a rig, an overhead rig.
Sure. You know, always bringing the work to your play.
I think that would be a fun thing. Like you want to have space to if you decide you want to stream your games, I think the room has to have space for that.
Sure.
And ideally you have like a closet, like a utility closet that has like the whole setup in there. So it's like a plug and play thing. If you want to record, you plug in and you have all the angles.
Like a whole hidden
like
AV.
It's
shelf.
like a studio.
That's right.
That would be my dream. And in fact, I think with the room, you also have to have a wall. Like I think we have windows. I think we want windows
to see snow.
To see snow. Also, so that way we don't become mole people.
Sure.
But one of the walls has to be aesthetically more pleasing. Maybe no windows, so that way you could shoot something like this against it if you decide to do a board game show.
Speaking of like windows, something that is extraordinarily important to me is lighting.
We're gonna get to that.
Okay, we're gonna get to that.
Sure. We're gonna get to that. And temperature control,
of course,
very important. Okay, I think it's time to talk about the table, though.
The table. Okay, very good.
Okay, you said you like square tables. Let's go back to this.
Yeah, I like square tables.
So tell me more. Why do you like a square table instead of a long? And how big is the square table? How many people sit along each side of the square table?
I have a table that I used to live in Australia. You might not know this.
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah, but in Australia, there's a wood called Jarrah. And it's like a heavy wood, kind of like an ebony. And I had the opportunity to buy a Jarrah table.
Sorry, I'm trying to negotiate my coffee around this microphone.
Very, very slick. And I regret to this day that I did not buy this
Jarrah table.
And so, but like it's square. And I recently
do you feel like you were on the brink of buying it?
Oh yeah, would
you say you were on a Jarrah brink?
That's exactly how I would phrase it. That get out of my head.
Okay, go on. Sorry.
Recently I went to Texas and I went to visit a friend who was in Australia with me, who got that table, and we're playing board games with her family, and I was like, oh, it feels so good, like a heavy wooden table. It just there's nothing quite like it. Not laminate, but like wood. Like,
yes, like heavy.
It feels, you could feel the energy of the earth in there.
I 100% agree. I have a wooden table. I love my table that I have here. It's a beautiful table. It's something I splurged on. It's actually like a bespoke table. It was commissioned. It has this great herringbone pattern on it. But one thing that it does not have, what I thought it was going to have, is it does not have heft.
Yeah.
In many ways, that's great because it's nice to be able to move it, whatever. But when you sit at a table that you know is not moving, that you know no matter what you do is so sturdy, like it's not, like if you bump into it and nothing is shaking, that is life right there.
I know it is. I was like going, like I was playing, the board games, but I was just like putting my hand on the table, just feel like, oh, this wood is bulletproof.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, this is so good.
Was it a smooth surface? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you need to have a smooth surface for your board game table.
It was. I every time I think about that table, I regret. It's the only piece of furniture that I think about. Like, oh, I should have bought this piece of furniture.
Can you get Jara wood elsewhere?
It's hard. The wood itself is hard. Hard but wood. Like, it's not like, it's a custom table that that was in Alice Springs. So blah 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 blah. Like,
well, you know what they say.
But the answer is yes, I could. It just costs more.
You know what they say?
I don't know what they say. Brent, can you tell me what they say?
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Wow.
Woulda spelled WOODA.
Wow. That's hard. That's Jara hard.
What would you do in that situation?
What Jara you do?
That was a jarring comment for me.
That's right.
So you like square shape?
I like a square shape because like when we play on your table, for example, which is a great table, and it works for 4, but what happens when 5 comes? It
becomes like those movies where there's like two aristocrats, like a husband and wife in a cold marriage that don't like each other, and they're very rich. Exactly. And they sit on each end of a very long table.
Exactly. And so it just feels, it doesn't feel energetically egalitarian to me.
It's hard because what happens is that invariably with a longer table, the board, even no matter how much you try to center it, someone is always like a mile away.
Yeah.
And you try to do if again with 4 you can do 2 and 2.
Yeah, 4 works fine.
And then even with, theoretically, you could do a 3 and 3. Sure. You could sort of do that, but I know what you're saying. However, the problem with the square table is that in order to do a square table that fits a lot of people, what happens is everyone is far away from the board because the table gets actually really big. And so where do you put the board?
Well, the board is in the center, and at this table, like, it was like 2 on each end. So like it was a table designed for 8, and that wound up being acceptable. Like, I found that, like, oh, this is what I like to play, like something like Twilight Imperium on it would be. I was like, oh, this would be so great because, like, granted, like a smaller game might not be the best, but if you're going to be playing a smaller game, you could fit a four-player table. This is for, like, a big 8-player table. So I think something with a big footprint. That's why I prefer.
I mean, it's tricky because there's part of me that feels like the table size. You start with something like Twilight Imperium, and you say this table must be able to fit Twilight Imperium. Yep. That's for me is kind of like very important.
Sure.
And in fact, when I commissioned my table, I literally measured out how big Twilight Imperium is.
Did you really?
Yes, 100%.
Oh my God.
100%.
I didn't realize that this.
Because the reason why is because Twilight Imperium is the largest game that I have, and it's one that comes out.
Sure. We should play it this month or next month.
We should play it tonight. I don't care. We could do a 3-player game.
Yeah.
We should play it, by the way. Oh, and never mind. I'm not going to get into Twilight Imperium. But it's a big game. Also, Railways of the World has a huge map as well. we played Western Empires at our friend Tom's place, and that was a really, really big one. Yep. I don't know if that's bigger than Twilight Imperium, but it definitely seats a lot of people. Yep. Anyway, when I choose a table, like, it has to fit Twilight Imperium, and it's not that it has to, like, everything just fits. There has to be room for the board and for everyone to have space to put their pieces,
100%.
Which is a big footprint. So
I think big enough that everyone's comfortable.
Yes. So here's where it gets tricky. Like, kind of the best table for that is actually maybe like a big circle.
Sure.
I think circle might be better than square in this case, because if you do square, people on the corners are going to be far away from the center action. But then circle, you run the risk of not having space for your seats. So is it almost like a sun shape with like little areas that come out? How do you feel about side tables that come up?
I'm pro side table. If you watch me play, you've seen me play Twilight Imperium at your place. I'll get the little stool and put my cards on the side stool. So I'm pro side table.
What about something? Okay, since money is no object, we can make a bespoke table. What about something wild where there's an outer ring where everyone sits, and the inner ring is almost like a lazy Susan that accommodates the entire hex situation, and so whenever you need to do anything, you can always rotate.
Sure.
And that would probably.
I'm pro,
rotation.
Asian, so lazy Susan.
I don't know. I'm torn because I really am concerned that in order to scale up the table to have enough space for all the pieces that you need, then the hexes in the center get farther and farther away from you, and that is a problem. And I don't know how you solve that. I think it might be a side table situation.
I'm pro square. That's my having recently played on the square table. But I'm biased. I have all this I have 20 some years of baggage of I wish I got that table.
I think actually maybe the answer is a modular square table where you have maybe 4 squares that you can arrange in different layouts. So it could be one long rectangle. Or 4 squares together makes one big square.
I saw this Kickstarter for this table that just changed size. Like you just cranked it and then it did all this stuff. It was a game table for that, and it was very interesting.
Table legs on the corners, or a base in the center, or some sort of where do you want the table legs to be?
Once again, my table is cornered, but I suppose theoretically if you can make the stem and the wood sturdy enough that someone can lean on the table without risk of it moving it, then center
would be the dream.
It's the dream, but I don't know if that is feasible.
My table was supposed to have more central legs, but there was it was rattling too much, so we had to go out wider. And now as a result, people are constantly bunking their knees on the legs of my table, which I hate that just because I hate that people bunk their knees. But it also means that the desire to kind of squish in, if you were to do a 6-player game, we could all squish in, but we don't as much because there's that leg there. So it sort of forces people into districts. So I
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. So I personally would want a central stem. Yeah.
Love it.
Also, question, a lot of gaming tables have the sunken center where there's an outer rim and a sunken center. And I think the reason why is because they are convertible. So you can then put something on top and use it as a dining room table, or maybe there's some RPGs. It's more favorable to drop it.
And it has that lighting thing that people like.
Yeah, and you can also attach cup holders. How do you feel about a ring around your gaming table in our perfect game room?
Not my vibe.
Me neither.
I mean, I understand it, and for those who have it,
great,
thumbs up. It's just not my vibe. I would prefer something just classic.
I think it cuts into the gaming space.
Sure.
I think resting your arms on it is uncomfortable because the edges dig into your forearms. And I find that I often am kind of slumping over it in a way. I have a different posture at those game tables.
You know what? It is also for me. It reminds me I feel like I'm playing craps, and it just puts me in a different space.
Huh. What sort of space does it put you in?
Like more of a let's gamble as opposed to let's think.
I kind of feel like that would actually be a positive. I feel like it's kind of fun if it puts you in a crap space. It's kind of like we're playing a game.
Oh, you're the chaos agent, aren't you?
I am.
So
I am. Okay, so in summary, our perfect gaming table.
It's in
has a
Switzerland.
central stem. Maybe it's in Switzerland, made of Jara wood with a flat surface, potentially modular to go into a square. Even though circle seems like it would be fun, but I think circle might not be practical enough. Does not have an outer lip, and maybe has some sort of capabilities for side tables. My one thing with the side tables is that they feel inelegant.
This is true.
How do we do an elegant side table? And they also often you hit them and they like shake and things fall off. Is it possible to have a side table that's like somehow comes off of the main table, like it's a drawer that comes out?
Money is no object, man.
Yeah, I think that would be great, or something that like clasps on. I would be into that because then it's like not some other structure that moves and shakes.
Okay, sure.
Because those side tables are often wobbly and stupid. Yeah. Okay, so I think we settled the table. It's got to be at a certain basic size for a really big game. Do we care if the table is big enough to have 2 games going at once, like at our friend Tom's game night?
Interesting enough, I don't care. I feel like the room would have multiple tables that would come in. And
I think I would rather have a whole separate table, or even 3, rather than doing 2 games at the same table, because I find that's actually really hard with the crosstalk and doing 2 games at once. Okay, so the table has been set. We've just established our table. Solved.
And the room.
We know the table and the room. Next up, chairs.
Chairs, okay.
What type of chairs would you like? Arms, no arms, rolly, swivel, plush, everything. What do you want?
Interesting. So, like, I on occasion will have back issues if I sit too long.
Yes.
And so sometimes I'll need like a cushion of some sort. However, I do feel like there are wooden chairs that accommodate that, like a well-designed chair, like well-designed furniture is amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm just saying, like this. I didn't think I'd be ever saying that, but like well-designed furniture, like I get it.
Yeah, I mean, look at where we are right now. I mean, this is the peak of Scandinavian design that we're sitting in.
Like in my youth, I go like, oh, why would people not just go to IKEA? Like it just
yeah.
But like when you sit in a good chair, when you sit, it doesn't even like
you feel it.
I sit in a good wooden chair, and I go like, and so the answer for me, strangely enough, is just a well-designed wooden chair. No arm, whatever. No arm.
Let's say the well designed is implicit.
Sure.
Because it's not like we're like I think the chairs that we should get are poorly designed.
Yeah.
For our ideal game room, let's get poorly designed chairs that are uncomfortable. Assuming that they are comfortable, I think no arms.
No arms.
Generally speaking, I enjoy arms on a chair, but I think for gaming, arms is a no go.
Puts me in a different space.
Not only that, it's annoying.
Yeah. Sure.
One of the game nights we go to, all the chairs have arms and they're puffy, and the chairs themselves are extremely comfortable. But what happens is there's a lot of bonking into other chairs. And especially if you're trying to swivel out of that chair to get out, to go somewhere, to the bathroom, to anywhere, good luck. Good luck not bonking and having to do the whole squeeze around. And so I say no arms. Also, it's important because, again, no matter how beautiful our table is, we are beholden to the size of the game. And if we have a smaller game, if you're playing like Red Cathedral or White Castle or something, you're going to want to like squeeze in.
Sure.
So I think you want chairs that allow for squeezing in. Right.
Love it.
So no arms. I think I like a cushion. I think you can get like a narrow chair that's also cushiony.
Sure. I would prefer non-cushion, but like, I wouldn't. Here's something that you'd be surprised with. I'm kind of anti-wheel.
I think I like wheel, but I think for gaming, wheel can be annoying because you wind up somehow rolling away from the table. Like, I don't want to roll away from the table.
Like, I think one of the things about games is like you spend a lot of time using energy to decide and all that stuff, and like this kind of like micro, like just like rolling back and forth, and just it actually takes away from it. Like I realized this when I was driving to San Francisco, and I drove with adaptive cruise control for the first time.
Oh,
and I was going like, just like just what you call it, like gassing and braking.
Yeah.
Not having to do that actually made me drive so much. I had so much more energy. That those micro decisions kept on, pile up after hours.
Yeah.
And so in this way, if you're always just by nerves or whatever, just kind of fidgeting around there, I feel it dissipates the energy.
That's a very interesting theory. I never thought about that before, but I can see that because a lot of times if you have like an office chair, there's the wheels that'll have you moving, but then there's also that tilting back and forth. The tilting can be very comfortable because sometimes with the game you're hunching over, so it's nice to be able to lean back. But too much back and forth, maybe that does contribute on some level to an uneasiness at the table.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make sure no casters on our table.
That's right.
Chairs, and no rolling.
That's right. And and we have the table made from Gaia.
Yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful table. You won't even want to roll it.
That's right. That's right.
You just want to be on it and next to it.
Exactly.
But I do think yes, what you're saying, a beautifully wooden chair is like comfortable. But I think we should have like cushioning,
or at least option cushions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cushion option.
Yeah.
How many chairs should we have at our table?
It would adjust with the table because we'd rotate, but I think 8.
Okay.
I think 8.
That's solid. And I think again we have softer, nicer chairs around the outskirts.
But the answer, I think, is the number of chairs should go with the room and the aesthetic. It should feel like, oh, here is the right number. Even if the answer is 6 and we were only playing a game of 4, it just you're trying to create that vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to lighting.
Lighting.
What's your favorite type of lighting?
I really thought about this actually because
I know I can tell. I can already tell.
Invariably in movies, you are actually, the audience is actually very forgiving of imperfection in focus or color or whatever. But you know what? You're not forgiving about sound. It's something that you don't think about.
Sound is
in the moment,
so important.
And the moment sound is off, you let go. And for board games, what I find for me is the moment I can't see a game properly, with the moment it has nothing to do with the game. And so for me, I want soft lighting. I want enough lighting so that so everything looks beautiful and legible. Those two things, beautiful and legible. Probably slightly warm, but not too warm.
Right. Well, I think that in terms of generally speaking, in game rooms, in terms of brightness, fluorescent is the best in terms of brightness.
Sure,
if I'm playing somewhere where there's fluorescent lights, I can see everything, which is great. But in terms of vibe, it's one of the worst things.
Yes, 100%.
It's terrible, which is funny. When I was a kid, I loved fluorescent lighting. I was like, oh,
weird.
Yes, I loved fluorescent lighting.
Weird.
I was like, yes, let's get that brightness going. I loved it. But I think the answer is, I think, especially if we have our high ceiling, great hall, but even if we don't, I think we have lights that hang over the table. Almost like Tiffany lamp. They don't have to be Tiffany lamp. I don't care about the shades, but a drop light.
How about in movies they have floating blimp lights?
Yeah, 100. I think that would be wonderful. Actually, we have a light here, something like that. Yeah. I can imagine in my dining room, which is where we play at my place. I have these recessed lights that are in the ceiling, but we have high ceilings. They're all the way up there. So even though there's a huge amount of lights in the room, by the time the light actually hits the table, it's oddly dark.
Yes.
And so I think the lighting source, I want it to hang down pretty low over the table.
Sure.
Almost maybe almost at if you go to a
bar?
A pool hall.
Yeah.
Pool hall. Wow.
Pool.
I'm very New York today.
You're in it.
I don't even have this. I never grew up with even this accent. I think there's something about talking about this room is getting me New Yorky. But you know what? On a pool table, I think you want something hanging low.
Yep. Love it.
And that way it's bright, but you can also keep it soft at the same time. Love that. It. I think of all the things we talked about, that would be the thing I would want.
100%. That's number one for me.
Number one would be a low hanging soft light over a nice big Jara table with chairs that are not moving.
Well, what'd be great is you're in this house and you open a door and then you're in Switzerland to the like a portal to Switzerland Chateau game room. I think that no money, no object here, guys.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get to the pie in the sky requests soon. So okay, we totally agree on the lighting. Okay, Now it's time to talk about some miscellaneous aspects.
Mm-hmm.
So, snacking is a hot topic on Table Scraps.
It is very hot. Hot.
There clearly will have to be some snacking, and people like having their drinks, when you play games, which is totally fine. What do we do about that? How do we fit that into our room?
Like, I always, when we play at your house, I keep all my food pretty much at the bar. I feel like there should be a food bar.
I agree, on the side. There could just be a bar.
But yeah, exactly. And so, this will bleed into like the what you call the wish list, the But like the bar, like I think that's
I think with our as long as we have side tables that can come out of our central table. I think we also have cup holders, like those kind of ring cup holders. I do enjoy that a lot in those game tables. Sure. Although they do a really bad job of holding wine glasses. Those are built for cups like the Starbucks cup. You can slot a cup or a can, but for wine cups,
not in our money is no object table.
I'm saying the cup holders have to be considered
a
little bit more than just like a ring. They have to somehow, like at the cup holders, this is again going a little more pie in the sky. The cup holders have to have some element where almost like maybe a rubber interior that like a flexible thing where like a wine glass can slot in, something to hold the wine glasses.
Yeah, no,
because people always bring wine glass. People always want to drink wine.
That's as well they should.
Or if you have a mug that has a handle, you can't use those cup holders. So there needs to be a reconsideration. Almost maybe it should be just like a box, like a tall box, rather than like a ring.
No,
a tall box that just
sure.
Okay.
Or what you could do is like the glasses that you use they have like small magnets in it, so like whatever you put into the box, it holds it.
That's good too. That's really good.
I'm just saying, like that way the wine glass, it'll hold the wine glass. So I'm just saying.
I feel like also the game room. I think the game room should also be where the game storage is too.
Sure, of course.
I think there should be like a whole wall,
part of the vibe,
where all the games are. Or the closet or something like that. It's got to be all contained. So it's kind of like the rest of your house, not gaming, but you come into the game room, it's everything you could want. That's where the games are. Like that's where the accessories are. There's like an accessories closet.
Like the way I look at it is like imagine walking to Trinity College in Ireland.
Yes.
And instead of a library, and instead of books, it's games. That's how it should feel.
What's the book of bells or something like that? Kells Bells or something like that. I think you walk in. I think you have the fireplace directly across, like at one end.
Yep.
I think maybe on the side that you walk in is where all the games are.
Love it.
Or maybe that's where the bar is, because we want to have windows too, but we also want to have our aesthetic wall. We're kind of running out of walls.
Well, you're assuming that you want a square. It could be
maybe it's L shaped.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it could be. I feel like.
No! I realize what it is, because you said Trinity College.
Yeah.
It's 2 stories.
Of course.
And the second story is the ring that goes around. You look down.
100%.
And that's where all the games are up there.
For the spectators.
Spectators, you can play small 2-player games up there, but that's where you have all the gaming shelves are all up there. So when you want to get a game, you go upstairs. And you can have certain shelves downstairs, like the premium, maybe the new games, but like you go upstairs and that would be beyond perfect.
Well, so I am not currently a billionaire, but if we have any billionaire subscribers out there who like the idea, the cut of the jib of this,
it doesn't even have to be a billionaire.
I'm asking the billionaire. So like this would be a really good thing to have.
Oh, I would love this.
Yeah.
Okay, so then televisions? No televisions. I'm trying to think that I feel like there might be a case for a television.
Like it comes down to vibe for me. Like would you put a television in your library?
But not for watching TV.
I know.
But maybe for games that would require a television.
How about this?
Like if you're playing Jackbox games,
like a wall that has a hidden television that you can reveal.
Yeah, but it's not for sitting and watching 100%. TV. It's just for
a monitor.
It's for a tool if you need a TV as a tool.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the bigger. Let's get really ambitious now.
Ambitious.
Do you have any really ambitious
I do.
things? Okay, go on. Say.
I have one that is like grotesquely opulent, and I have one that is near future.
Okay.
So grotesquely opulent. I want a sommelier / concierge.
Wait, go on.
So like
what? Like actual like wine, or for like the games?
For the games. Like a person in the room,
a librarian, if you will.
Basically,
you want to reference librarian for the games.
And this person will also it's basically like a game butler.
Yeah.
And the reason when I thought about this, it's like, oh, the closest we have to that is Matt at Candace's. Like he'll make food on occasion, and I go like, oh, I have found that we're having brisket today. I smoked some blood. I go like, great. And it's different than when you cook, because you have to step away in order to do that stuff.
Right.
And so that stalls the game. Whereas here it's like, oh, lunch is ready. Okay, we all go out. I go like, oh, I didn't have to make a choice. And because my brain power.
Wait, but you, I feel like you started like with a sommelier who's going to be able to tell you about the games, whatever. But then it turned into just a servant to bring us food.
It's that one person. It's like a game, like a person bound to that room, because like a genie.
Would you like that person to be a robot in a perfect world?
No.
Yes, I feel like you want it to be a robot.
Okay, fine. I mean, like I would want someone who wanted to just be there. This is what they love to do. It's not a power thing. This is just like I think Matt is pretty happy serving Candace and us when I don't think he goes like, oh man.
No, he enjoys hospitality. Yeah.
And so like.
Now, I think that the more that we talk about this, the more this entire game room is becoming very Downton Abbey. And I just want to say, and that's why you were like, I'm appealing to billionaires, because I think in your mind, we said the Trinity College, Trinity Library, and we're already thinking like, Ireland, UK. It doesn't have to be that way. You can still build a large room that has a second floor with a ring, and you don't need to have a billionaire's funds. I just want to put that out there. That it does not have to be a Gothic room with stained glass.
That's just the aesthetic that I'm thinking of. Like I can actually translate this, or renovate. That's a better word than renovate. Like a warehouse space. Yeah. In downtown LA, where you have you make like a loft, but
you could do that too.
And so
and we didn't mention this, but like clearly the room has to have some sort of like surround sound built-in speakers for ambient music, etc. Or like what I think I would actually like, if we're doing Pie in the Sky, I think I would like a DJ.
I'm all for that.
Because isn't it so annoying when we're like, what's the music that we should set for this? And then like you're on your phone and trying to make it link up. There's just someone who does that for you.
And let me ask you this. Do you want a robot, or you want a person?
I want a person.
Yeah.
And I want them to know like the right music for the tone. 100%. And they can also adjust the music on the fly as the game is going to different states. Or they just put on some pop music. Or they just 100%. Know. They just know.
They just know.
They just know. I think, what I think would be a great thing, which this I think lies between Pie in the Sky and actually might be realistic. I want like some screens that could maybe come down, and like an overhead camera. So that way, if there's a card market in the game, the camera can zoom in on the card market, and then the cards can be projected up on screens. So that way, if you're sitting far from the card market, or oriented the other way around, you could just see what's available without having to ask to bring it closer, without needing the lighting. It's just up there, and it's big, and everyone can see it. That I think would be amazing.
I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
That would be a huge.
That's doable. I don't think anyone's done it, but I think that's definitely doable.
That's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Also, I think maybe having a personal reading lights, like when you go to a hotel and we've got the little lights that are at, like even though we have our beautiful drop lighting, it still might be nice to just have like one little private one. Like every seat just has one, maybe, and that way you can really look at those cards, and that would that'd be nice.
Yeah. No.
That's not even that Pie in the Sky. Just add like little reading lights. Wait, I had another Pie in the Sky one.
Well, you look for it. I'll tell you my Pie in the Sky.
Okay, do another one.
This is near future. So this is not quite there yet. So here is something that I have found. And I was thinking about this, about board games, especially with various people, myself included. It goes, kind of the reason why we enjoy games is because it pushes us, especially the size games that we play. And what I would say is like our algorithm is overclocking our working memory. So by that I mean like, oh, we can see what we need to consider. Our brain matter isn't able to hold all those balls in the air at once simultaneously through those iterations. And so AP happens where you go like, I'm going down, oh, I dropped this ball. And then I'm going down, oh no, and you keep on dropping balls. And so what I would love is to have like a little, like an iPad or something that goes like, oh, here's what you're thinking. Here's the end result of what you're thinking. So like just like a hand to hold one of those balls that like, and this is my way of solving AP.
I was going to say, I mean, I like having my balls falling all over the place.
Sure. Ben likes his balls all over the place.
No, I do like the grind and the thinking it through, but there are some people where it destroys him and it makes the entire game night unfun. So it would be nice if there was, if there were, obviously someone who could like sit with them and be like rules reminders. But I feel like, I don't know if I like the idea of hiring staff as much. So going back to the DJ thing and going back even to the butler, unless they're robots, I don't know if I'm going to include them in my dream room, because then you're talking about just like staff that you can hire to bring in, and they're not actually the room. I mean, I guess you could say a DJ setup would be good to bring in someone.
I think like the ideal
but a robot would be part of the room, right?
I guess, but it's not the same though, because it's like, do you want a robot bartender? And you go like, you don't want that. You want people who want to be there. I'm not gonna.
I guess if we're saying what would go into our dream room, then you couldn't talk about staff. So like having personal rules helpers for people who can't keep up, I think would be nice.
Sure.
Keep them that way. That way the burden doesn't fall on other people who are just trying to play the game. That way they don't have to be pulled out of their game to explain a rule for the 10th time in a row. So I think having someone who's like their job is to do that, like who just can walk around the table, would be lovely.
Like, yeah, I think in the end, like, one of the things that happens for me when I watch games is that I go like, oh, this person is running the same script 3 times now. He's went down this path. He actually has the conclusion, but he forgot he had the conclusion, and then so he's iterating it again and again, and he goes like, "Oh, this is grinding."
Sorry, I have to interrupt you because I just thought of the best pie in the sky device.
Love it.
This would be really cool for the AP thing. So people who have AP usually grind the game to a halt, and yet for some reason it's almost ruder to be the person that calls them out because you're like making a situation awkward for them. That's like bad etiquette. You can call people out, but it can be cruel, especially if it's like something like in their hardwiring. It would be great if the table or the chairs had some sort of secret button,
like a buzzer,
and if you press it, and like if enough people press it, the person gets like a little vibration that's kind of like saying like everyone at the table wants you to move faster.
Oh, why
no one's calling you out about it, because this way no one has to. If people are uncomfortable calling out people, it's just a polite, subtle way of being like, you gotta hurry up.
Oh, how about this then? How about like it's like in that same line, rather than even have someone have to push it, you just do like comics do. They get the red light, 30 seconds, and so the table automatically like buzzes when you're a little too long.
Yeah, that would be good too. But I like the idea of well, the thing is, it's because sometimes like it's hard to know when that red light should go on.
Oh, and what
maybe we all vote for the red light.
Okay, or like since you want robots, like the table can analyze the game state and go like, oh, this is how long one should take.
Yeah,
because that's effectively it removes the burden from us, or the people around.
Or that it would be great if there was some sort of scanning device or something that could be on the fly, seeing like how long our turns have been going. I can calculate what the average turn has been and like what your current turn is.
Sure.
So like on the fly stats would be really cool.
Like they do that with chess. Like you see the moves and you're like, oh, here's how much. So yeah.
I think it'd be cool. Be player shields that could come up out of the table, and like they'd be nice and big, and that way you could have all the room like. Yeah. Roomy player shields would be a fun thing to add.
I love it. I do have something that if I have this ideal portal game room in Switzerland, chateau, blah, blah, blah. here's something that like I don't know if anyone would have considered. For me, like I would say this, but now with all that there comes a requirement: dress code.
Oh, dress code.
Because it's if all the space is done for like this kind of like vibe, like I feel like it should you
should rise to the occasion
a little bit.
It's kind of fun.
A little bit.
I mean, what if we do something like put snow machines outside the windows and just like force the coziness?
I love it. But yeah, like I don't.
What if it's like, what if there were not even really windows?
Mm-hmm.
What if, or I should say that what if they're not really views? The windows just lead to like an outer shell where you can create different exteriors, and you can be like, it's a sunny day,
or there's an
have light streaming
LCD
in.
screen, and you can make it anywhere. You're underwater.
Well, that would be wild if the wall was like that, and like you're like in space.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd like that.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. But like one of the things that I found, and I'm not like my nephew, he's 5, is a big dress up person. He loves, I'm a soldier, I'm a fireman, I'm a blah blah blah, I'm a warrior or whatever. And I didn't really care most of my life. I'm a 50-plus-year-old man. I don't.
Yeah.
But when we play Twilight Imperium, and then we dress up as our factions, love it.
Maybe a dressing room is what we need. Like little dressing rooms, like a costume area. If you want to be, I know this sort of goes against dress code, but like if like prop room for getting into character.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be like a character, although encouraged. It just needs to be saying like this is something special. Like, you dress whatever you want, but it should feel like you've made an effort.
So now going the other direction, as we come towards the end of this episode, if we had to strip away, we're talking about all the things, all the bells and whistles. What are the absolute must-haves? We've talked about lighting and chairs and tables and room size. Like, what are the most important elements in a game room? Like, you have to have this in order to have a good game night.
I mean, a game. Duh.
Yeah.
A table.
But you need it. Given if you assuming you have table, chairs, walls,
light.
What of all the things that we've said have gone into our perfect game room? What are like the essential things that we absolutely must have?
Well, those are the essentials.
I'm saying like those are the categories.
Okay, sure.
So
you go first, and maybe I'm missing it.
I would say, of all these fun things that we want to have, the most important thing is big table and that good lighting, that drop light and big table, and everything after that. Like the chairs, ideally would be nice if they were good chairs. But like if I have okay chairs, I'll be okay. If I have any of the other stuff, I'll be okay. If it's a narrow room, I'll be okay. But if the table's too small or there's not good lighting, it's gonna be a problem.
I think for me, it's sommelier. It must have. Without that, no, I think those are the two. But truth be told, though, I don't even, as much as I want good lighting, like it comes down to just the table.
Okay, so let's summarize. Now we're at the end of the episode. I think we've drilled down a lot of what we want in our perfect game room. Our perfect game room is going to be a large room, probably square, where there can be a large modular table in it. The table itself.
2 stories.
Well, yes, it's going to be a 2-story room. On the second story, it's going to be a ring, like an old-fashioned library, and that's where all the shelves are for all the games, and all your needs are up there. And there can even be little small tables for 2-player games. People can sit up there, or you can just chill out, whatever.
Sure.
Maybe.
Cognac.
Ooh, you know what I would love? Like a little area up there where you could sort of like, like if you go to like some certain like airport lounges, there are these little cubby holes where you seal out sounds. You can have private phone calls, and that's an area where you can learn rules if you need to.
Ooh.
So you can seal out the sound. So you go upstairs, you pull a game, you have rules pods, and then downstairs you have this big table that could be modular. There are drawers that can pull out to become side tables for if you have neat pieces, and also high-end cup holders that hold a variety of cups and glasses, etc. Handles, wine glasses, stems, etc. There's also sofas along the side and comfy chairs for if you want to do a nice comfy social deduction game, or maybe you want to play celebrity, do party games. There's a TV that can emerge from the wall if you're going to play like Jackbox games like on your iPhone. There's overhead projector so that we can zoom in on card markets and project it so everyone can see it. Personalized lights on your chair so that way you can look at cards really well, even though you do have a beautiful drop light, beauty lights. They're soft lighting. Everything is well lit because the light is close to the source, but it's not actually in anyone's eyes. We also have windows that may or may not have snow machines or LED panels to create whatever views outside the windows and streaming lights, but probably just windows. We have an area where a DJ can be installed to create bespoke music. We also have a bar with snacks and for drinks. And we also have the potential for people to come in and be sort of like both offer food, which I guess would go on the side table. Well, I don't think we want to eat our food by the big table, but I think we just have a dining area by the bar. And we also have someone who could maybe come around and help people with rules questions so that way everyone else can just focus on the game that they want to play. And then also a props and costume nook if you want to get into character.
Like, I've come to realize, like, who's that detective in, like, Murder on the Orient? Something
Hercules Poirot.
I thought his last name was Hercule. Yeah, anyway.
Whoever he is.
Like, you know,
he's a jerk.
Like Murder on the Orient or like Death on the Nile, the Agatha Christie. Like, I feel like this is an Agatha Christie scene.
Yeah. Someone will die, unfortunately.
That's right.
It's a perfect room. Unfortunately, someone dies every night we use it.
Every time. That's right.
Okay, well, I think we solved it. I think that's the perfect room. Oh, I guess bathrooms.
Yeah.
Easy. I think there should be their own. There should be.
Sure.
You don't have to go through the rest of the house. You can just go to the bathroom. Comfy bathrooms. The perfect bathroom is a whole other episode.
Another episode.
Just know that there's bathrooms to be had.
That's right.
And surround sound.
Surround sound. That's right.
For perfect music. I hope we didn't miss anything. But if we did miss anything,
I wonder if people could just let us know.
Like and subscribe. Leave us a note in the comments because we would love to hear what would be in your perfect room. I feel like we covered a lot of ground, but maybe this isn't someone else's perfect room. So please tell us your perfect, ideal, pie in the sky game room, or maybe your just realistic game room. We want to hear it all. Leave a comment down below. And also subscribe because it means a lot. It helps us grow this channel.
And if there is a billionaire out there who makes this room, please invite us over.
Please invite us over. We want to play so badly. Thanks for being here on Table Scraps. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Ben.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Table Scraps.
Table Scraps.